Johnny, 123, Johnny, copy. Okay.
We'll start the afternoon. We're pretty close to being on time. Thank you for all coming back on time. Just a couple quick comments to remind people for the afternoon. We appreciate the silence from the phones. We ask that it continue. When you're speaking, stay close to the mic to help out the sound system. When you are speaking, please use full names, not acronyms, to help with the interpretation. Where possible, please wear the mask just to help out. And when we're asking questions, please keep the questions directly related to the presentation that has happened. When you speak, please announce your name and the organization that you're with. And we welcome the Baker Lake team back. They did their presentation before lunch, and now it's time for their questions. As before, we will start with Nunavut Planning Commission staff, move to the community delegates, then open it up to registered participants. And if there's a public member that would like to ask after that, then there will be time for that. I was just informed that Nunavut Planning Commission staff don't have any questions, so we will go directly to community participants. Does anybody around these two sets of tables have any questions for Baker Lake? I don't see any questions. Is there any questions from registered delegates or registered participants? Is there any from registered participants? I thought I was going to see one, but they're going in the other direction. Is there anyone from public that would like to ask a question of the Baker Lake team? Please state your name.
Elizabeth Eksa. Pake Eksa Aniga. Ila, how long is this program going to last? How long? Ila.
Oh, I missed that. How long is this process going to take place? What is the purpose of it? Is it to find gold, silver?
Thank you very much for your question. Unfortunately, that is not a question that the people from Baker Lake would be able to answer. I believe that at this point in time, we'll say thank you to the people from Baker Lake. Appreciate your presentation, and we'll go on to the next. The individuals from Chesterfield Inlet are up next. Are you going to the table together, Hamlet and Hunters and Trappers? Okay. As soon as they do their wipe down, please make your way to the table. Thank you. Okay. Please
Thank
state
you.
your name
Good
and
afternoon.
organization. Thanks.
Harry Agak, Chesterfield, HTO Chair. Thank you. Thank you, Nunavut Planning Commission, for the invitation to this proceeding. And welcome everybody. My two colleagues will have their own presentation. For me, it will be a short comment presentation. First of all, it will be on caribou. Over the past summer, I think it was July and August, and it was the first time we have been reached by huge herd since 1976-75. Kamania Beverly herd came through our community. We have never seen that many caribou before, but they're gone now. I don't know which or where they have gone to. Chesterfield is well known for marine traffic. Chesterfield. It's heavy traffic with cargo ships going to Baker Lake. They travel throughout the whole season, summer. Our mammals, marine mammals, are being affected very badly. Not just by cargo ships and many other small traffic, vessel traffic coming through our community over and over again throughout the whole summer season. When there was some nickel mining in Rankin Inlet, our community used to be a major route for beluga whales. And there's a little anchorage spot, little cove in Chesterfield that used to be full of white whale, beluga whales. Now there's hardly any today. Not just whales, seals and other mammals are depleting. We had plenty of mammals during spring on ice floes. Now they're gone. We're out of caribou right now. We travel by great distances by all-terrain vehicles just to harvest caribou. Perhaps they will come our way during the freeze-up. Beverly Kamanieriak herd will come through migrating to Manitoba, but they won't travel to our community, be quite far. Near Chesterfield, we have no calving grounds. Well Cove and Rankin Inlet, it's in the middle of these two communities where the calving ground is. We have been greatly affected by mining companies. We've been affected for many years. We have not complained nor make statements for better traffic, but we have a lot of mammals. The river from the Nuna is coming. When the ships are in town, we just need to have the cargo ships, vessels to be more careful for noise. The noise is what we are really concerned about. The char have gone up river now, and we are traffic to the vessels, and other communities here have been able to harvest caribou when the weather is good. But our community have gone through. We have a lot of visitors passing through. Many coming to town for a gas up, and some pass through. Lower caribou is very healthy, and they are being harvested during this month. But still, with heavy vessel traffic, they are not nearby. People traveling far now with carrying Hondas on their small boats in order to reach the herd. I've heard many concerns from representatives on fresh water, our lakes, our watersheds. They're very valuable. We ask that you hear when we say that they're valuable. Some of our lakes are very good for fishing. We're not a mining town. And although we appreciate our communities, some of our communities are working at the mine. A lot of traffic coming through. Many anchored, waiting for their turn to go upriver to deliver to the mine near Baker Lake. We know this will be a problem as long as the mining near Baker Lake is operational. A few of my concerns, my colleagues will give you further presentation.
Thank you for your presentation. Please go ahead.
Barniak Chesterfield, HTO. I am here on their behalf.
Please get closer to the mic, thanks.
I can hear you now. Thank you for inviting us to the proceedings. We take it very seriously in this gathering to find facts, especially our fellow people from the region who have their say as well. We are here to discuss Nunavut Planning Commission, and especially Rankin. Thank you for your hospitality. It's a central point for this region to have a lot of people. I like to say what my uncle is saying about the vessel traffic. And we have known this for many years. When the traffic started due to the mine up near Baker, we were in full support, but we didn't know what the consequences will be. So at the early stages, we supported the development. We didn't know it was going to come at high cost to marine animal. Our seals, Marines are our main source of harvested caribou meats. It's good, healthy food. when we harvest in winter, we need these healthy meats to eat. They're the first to be affected when environment change, when ice change. They're the first ones to be interrupted. They're more or less our thermometers to the climate change. There are many people who come through going up to Repulse Fort, narwhal hunting, beluga whales, and we are the major gas up stations for all the local regional vessels traveling. And we are also the ones who have to respond to these emergencies traveling through our regions. This happens every summer. Our people are always heads up for emergencies, and it's quite often as well. We do this just so people will have a chance to survive. Southeast wind is the most dangerous. There are no harbors or coves to protect these small vessels. The swells are huge. So even at that time, search and rescue still travel to assist boats in distress. Us who are from the community, we work to date what is need of us. Now we always have concerns with that many big vessels coming through. Suppose there was a oil spill. Where is the oil Coast Guards? Where would this come from to reach any oil spill? It would take about 4 days at the earliest. So it's pretty dangerous, and always in our minds about oil spills with that many traffic within our vicinity. We worry about this to date, and it's always the foremost of search and rescue in our community. We would really appreciate what the region thinks of Chesterfield. Sometimes, as a small town, we don't have any resources. And organizations who say we are here for you are really never there. We have healthy beluga whales years back. They were a good source of food. We gave and we sent to the other communities what we harvested. And today now it's us who is asking for beluga from the other communities where we used to give. And the seal skins from seals are really needed in Chesterfield. Our women sewers lack seal skins, the mammoths, because mammoths are not there anymore. Before that, there were seals everywhere within our communities, and it's not the case today. North of us, there's a Iqaluit for the caribou. And caribou used to cross in abundance in that area, or going up on north migration or south migration. We need protection in our land, especially when freshwater crossings, migrations, and the vessels don't appear to be very concerned about these crossing points for caribou. There's just too much traffic going up to Baker Lake, and they just turn back because the vessels are so many that the caribou does not cross anymore. This is a big concern to the harvesters in Chesterfield. We heard problems up in Pond Inlet, and we identify with them now completely. We know what they're talking about. In spring, during the spring, even before the ice is gone, there are ships anchored out there to travel up the river to deliver cargo to the mines. And our elders have told us that during late spring breakup, it's no way to use the waterways right now on the river. Basically, Chesterfield Inlet is not only concerned about sea mammals, but as Inuit, we're friendly people. We are given too many orders, and we obey. Now it's our turn to plea for some sort of a help. Looking at the news, wildlife harvesting of seals, we envy them now. The communities who do not have large, heavy traffic on vessels. So, our concerns, will you listen to us? We are always telling what we need. We take elders' advice, and we are still obeying IQ. We believe because it's true. It's how they survived for many, many years. I realize cargo ships are not the only problem. Climate change is a problem as well. They're encountering different ice conditions, weather conditions over the years now. I realize that cargo vessels are not the only problem. And I think I can say for sure now that ships delivering to Baker Lake area cargo, especially the bulk fuel cargoes, they're huge. We have met these ship owners more than once and on many occasions to see what is the best solutions for safeguarding of the environment. We are pleading, and they assure us that there's nothing really to think about. We are here for the community. This has been their tune for the last 10 years, and assuring HTO and harvesters in Chester. I said this before, and I still believe it. And too many times one employee in the house will have to feed all the household members, and one hunter will feed many. It's still the same today. I still believe it, and that's what's happening today. So we have to support the harvesters in our communities. And the HTOs have small, limited budget. So how can we do the work we need, the worries that we see? How can we do all the work and look at every letter coming in and every company asking for meeting with HTOs and their other concerns? We have very limited budget as like hunters. Although they are poor in monetary things, they are very valuable to the community. They feed a lot of people in the community. but there's not much support for these harvesters. When people receive food, it goes a long way because eating country food is healthy, and it's our duty as Inuit to safeguard our mammals, whatever mammal and terrestrial they are. I think we are the only region in the world, Kivalek, that have abundance of caribou. We don't disturb, and the disturbance is coming from outside. It's affecting the caribou, and that is coming from outside. Additionally, I don't want to be hindrance to any development. Our people need jobs. But Inuit needs can be assisting us a lot and other small communities. And it turns out that mining companies and others are able to have their own ways throughout the world, and this is being the case. Someone mentioned earlier, before local people are educated, why not wait? Why not educate youngsters so they can have jobs and be the boss in their own land? We are just giving everything away at this stage, and I don't like this happening. Now, there are 2 operating mines in Kivalek. That's, I think, is a maximum. And they will hire many from the region. And many people are looking for jobs. And interests from outside are looking for jobs as well. And due to lack of qualifications, as has been hindrance to many locals, when people are trained, they will work, they will want to work, they will look for further training, just so they could take advantage of what jobs are coming up now. Yesterday, I think Baker Lake made a comment during the COVID-19. Our employed population at the mine were sent home, and that was quite bad because only people working at the mines were people from southern Canada, and that was a very bad move. It created hardship for many people, and whenever things like that happen, Inuit should not be the first ones to be let go or used as tool when things are not going well for mining companies. We are not seeing any monies coming in and staying in Nunavut. So I will conclude my comments. Further comments, please.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Is there additional presentation? No? So we can move to questions now? Okay. Nunavut Planning Commission staff? No questions from the Nunavut Planning Commission staff. Any questions from fellow community members?
Annie.
Alex, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alex Isaluk, Angwet Hunters and Trappers. My question is maybe to Harry, mostly about the population of walrus. You did mention about the beluga population and the seal population in Arctic Charter. My question is there any impact on walrus? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Please go ahead.
Area Guk, Chesterfield HTO Chair. Thank you for your question.
The walruses are up around Daly Bay area. They don't come close to Chester. We have to go about 80 kilometers to hunt the walruses springtime. Although a couple of years ago, one walrus came into the harbor and it was harvested right away. But speaking of walrus, we have to go 80 kilometers east of Chester, the Daly Bay area. Clear to me?
Thank you for the answer. Okay. Martha had a question first, then Ludovic. Martha first. I'm going by the list written down here. Go ahead, please.
Martha Hicks from the hamlet of Rankin, Inlet. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question for Barney from Chesterfield Hunters and Trappers. I remember some time ago they were going to have ship monitors working on ships along the shores of Chesterfield Inlet and Baker Lake. Just wondering if that's still ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Barney Eger, Chesterfield Inlet HTO. NTI does have AIS data set up, but we don't get any information out of it, and we don't have any monitors on the ships. We've requested for it, but apparently they had monitors from Iqaluit cadets, so we never get any information on any of the ships or any data.
Thank you. A further question?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Barney.
Okay, the next question is from Ludovic. Over here. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I'm from Akbiat, Ludovic Ihumatakwa Onik. A question to Chesterfield Presenter. It relates to work. I used to work in the industry for many years. I was a driller for 23 years and worked in your area for about 3 years. When you work with people from down south, you get used to it. I know that there are a lot of efforts to communicate. I've seen it before at the Ferguson camp. I had a good working relationship with the boss I used to work for. I haven't worked since 2007, and I started back in 1980. Chester representative, when he said that education and training will do, yes, many of us are capable. It's just that the opportunities are not there. When you are qualified, you become qualified. Too many have small expectation of what can be done for themselves. I wanted to support you in job creation and thank you for Nunavut Planning Commission for the invitation.
Thank you. If I understand, that was a comment of support. Any other questions from community participants? I don't see any hands from the community participants, so we'll actually ask Jonathan for a follow-up question. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This is Jonathan Savoy with the Nunavut Planning Commission. Thank you to the representatives from Chesterfield Inlet. Not so much as of a question, just some information and acknowledgement regarding the concerns about shipping in Chesterfield Inlet. Barney, you noted you've been expressing these concerns for 10 years, and the Commission has on multiple occasions heard from you and your community about the concerns regarding ship traffic in Chesterfield Inlet and impacts on marine mammals in particular. I note that the current 2021 draft Nunavut Land Use Plan does include some measures, for example, on caribou freshwater crossings across the inlet, but at this time it still does not include concrete measures or plan requirements regarding shipping. I just want to note that the Nunavut Planning Commission has identified this issue with the Nunavut Marine Council, which we do sit on. So we'll be hearing later this week a presentation from the Nunavut Marine Council, who are here in attendance. And the Nunavut Planning Commission, along with the other 4 institutions of public government, or other 3, can act together as a Nunavut Marine Council and provide recommendations to government on decisions affecting marine areas. So this particular issue is something that has been brought forward by the Nunavut Planning Commission as a potential area for the Marine Council to conduct some work and potentially take some form of action through recommendations. As you'll hear in the presentation, there have been some limitations on resourcing and capacity for the Nunavut Marine Council, but the Commission does feel this is an example of an issue where the Marine Council could potentially be of support on this concern. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention today, and don't have a specific question for you at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonathan. We will now move to the registered participants. Any questions from the back? I don't see anybody moving. Any public members? I don't see anybody moving. A little pause just to double check. Nobody's moving. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Coral Harbor. Coral Harbor.
The next group are the delegates from Coral Harbor. Are you coming up together? Up separate? Together? Thank you very much. Make your way to the table. While they're making the adjustment to the table, I just want to re-emphasize that oral presentations are just as valuable as any other type of presentation. And we thank everyone for coming and speaking and letting us know what you and your community thinks. And also, we'll hear from the registered participants later this week. And we also appreciate all your words and presentations as well. All settled in and ready to go? Who will be going first? Willie, okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you.
Willie Nakulak, Mayor of Coral Harbor.
Thank you, Chair. My fellow Kibalagmute. We have concerns in Coral Harbor. I've been to a lot of meetings. I've heard many concerns on Inuit IQ, Inuit Kauimaiutukat. It never was used before. This was a real thing to our forefathers, Inuit Kauimaiutukangat and Kangmait sod houses. When old lands are used, traditional lands, Inuit tradition are broken many times when traditional lands are disturbed. Slide 30, 54, I read that. I saw the presentation on them yesterday. Our wildlife, terrestrial, marine. For many years on these subjects, when we discuss our wildlife, and they're our food source for many years, and the categories on the map we saw, there appears to be no great concern of wildlife in our region, our marine mammals. I don't think I have been any real research on species. How are they doing, declining, improving? Nunavut Planning Commission, I think, came to Coal Harbor one time to see and to inquire on your vicinities how the wildlife is, so it could be, the land could be designated. So when I went through that exercise, it occurs to me when you start designating a plot of lands according to what mammals there are. I worry sometimes the bodies, the organizations making presentations, the land use plan also thought about wildlife today. Our regional organization in this region, we need to be heard too as well. As it is in whole of Nunavut, I hear nothing from NTI, KIA. They don't appear to have any huge concerns, and that has been the case for many years. What is the problem? Why the delay in information session from these organizations, especially related to wildlife in our Nunavut? Our elder in the past, they work hard. They were harvesters just to stay alive and to feed families. They used their best abilities to harvest. They went through hard times, for sure. There are elders here who went through that same period, and they would have the same story. I'm thinking our concerns, will it be becoming harder and harder to talk about and to discuss to the region? People in Kibalik are given voice. Perhaps some we have no concern with, but like every other community, caribou is our huge, big concern. Caribou herd in Baffin Island is going up and down. Caribou to Coal Harbor have very small opportunity, and that happens through ice crossing. And these are the concerns I have. So I just wanted to express my opinion at this hearing. People coming in from outside of Nunavut are impacting the locals on every matter of things. And you are affected, like in this region. We will support whatever this proceeding decides on. We will support what this region needs. People who are sitting with me are my relatives. I will give them an opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you for your presentation. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Short comment. I am the chair of Chesterfield HTO. On the presentation that were given to us, we were concerns related to that when it comes to fresh water and watersheds. The tourists, the cruise ships coming into the region came into our community at one point. So because of that, we heard now that the region, our region, most of it should be becoming a protected region. The size of this protected region is quite small. I think we could do better. Oh, I wanted to make a point on that, and in our community, the caribou talked about it. Alex spoke about it a bit. And in our community, there are 4 caribous allotted now per household. I don't think it will become a standard practice. I think it's a temporary solution. And our vet office, GN, has concerns about that. Directives come from that headquarters from the polar bear caribou biologist, rather. This is being done to safeguard caribou herd, saying that the herd is depleting. I think what I've heard is well meaning. People from this region, thank you for welcoming us to your community. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the presentation. Is there additional comments to come? No? Okay. We'll move into questions now. Is there any questions from Nunavut Planning Commission staff? Okay. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Jonathan Savoy with the Nunavut Planning Commission. Thank you to the representatives from Coral Harbour.
Just a few.
Appreciates the long history of active participation in this planning process from your community. There are a number of community areas of interest in the draft plan associated with your community, including Walrus Island, essential char fishing rivers, as well as the Duke of York Bay. All of these areas are included as limited use designations with year-round prohibitions on industrial activities, including mineral exploration and development, and oil and gas exploration and development. In written submissions, some participants have suggested that these limited use designations with year-round prohibitions are unnecessary and may negatively impact economic opportunities, including those associated with oil and gas exploration and development, in particular around Duke of York Bay. I'm just wondering if you have any comments on including in the draft plan these community identified areas as limited use areas with year-round prohibitions. Basically, whether you support this approach or if you would be open to more flexible approaches that would potentially allow economic opportunities like oil and gas exploration to be pursued in these areas. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Sean. Mayor.
Well, I might want to get together with the HTO first, and we can give you information later before we leave, I believe, I guess. We'll decide what we want to do. That's understandable. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that answer. No further questions from the Nunavut Planning Commission. Any questions from community delegates? I saw Alex's hand and that was it, so we'll start with Alex. Please.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alex Isaluk with Hunters and Trappers.
I have a question. Just further clearance to Danny P. Their caribou herd, Coal Harbor. How is your tag system that you follow in your community and the island? We would like to avoid, as a mainland harvesters, we don't want to get into the quota system. I just wanted to hear clarification when you have to work under quota and tag system to harvest your caribou. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for the question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Danny P. Coal Harbor HTO Chair. I'll try to answer your question. Our caribou herd at one point numbered over 25,000. Now they're little as under 5,000 to date. We thought if we should go into tagging system, quota system, just so the caribou in our community, our island could become healthy. Right now, they're not even 5,000 right now. So the system we're using now is okay with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Richard has a question. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Coal Harbor, for your presentation. My question relates to the shipping route. I know in the past, because I do understand that shipping route is very heavy between Southampton Island and Coates Island, where in the past the residents of Coal Harbor were requesting that the shipping route should be rerouted to the south side of Coates Island. Is there still these types of issues today?
Thank you for the question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. William Nicolak, Mayor, Coal Harbor.
Thanks for the question, Richard.
Yeah, it still applies today. Coach Island, Coal Harbor, they're still coming in through the island and the communities. Whereas my regional organizations, it's very heavy to us, it's concerning. And the Coach Island, there's a lot of walrus species there. And we don't want any disturbance on that island and the community. There are a lot of walruses on Coach Island, islands surrounding the island, they are full of walrus herds. The herds are plenty. Who do I talk to as Cold Harbor concerns? Where are the organizations who can look into this further besides us? No, we have not been able to move the shipping route to the south of Coates Island. It has been our concern for many years. Hopefully that answers your question, Richard.
Thank you for that. Okay, I don't see any more hands for questions. We'll move to registered participants. Any questions for the delegates from Coral Harbor? I don't see anybody moving to the mic. Public? Nobody moving. Thank you very much for your presentation. And I believe it's time for a 15-minute break before our next presenters. think we're all settled in, so who will be speaking first? Okay. Please go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Chair.
Kevin Tigumia,
Kevin Tigumia, Hamlet of Nauyat. First of all, thank you, Rankin, for welcoming us. Slide 37, I think. Historic sites. North Pole River. I think it was discussed by the Nunavut Planning Commission when they were in the community at the Northwest Passage. And there are old heritage sites, including sod house sites. It's a fishing spot for our community. 80% of our fish coming from that area. And to other people, it's called Nauyat Lion Inlet. That area is gathering place from hunters all over the region. And we need a protection on that. We want that designation according to what we see on maps presented near Nauyat. We don't have any mining companies, although there is an exploration nearby. And to the concerns of the Kivalek, there's no big problems of what is going on in our vicinity. I inquired previously, talked to lawyers within our municipal boundary. The precious metals related to precious metal within our hamlet community. Hamlet gravel supply has not been approved. It's being used, but we cannot charge for any loads that are taken right now. The Nunavut Planning Commission have no approved land use project. I think this is disadvantage to the hamlet of Nauyat. We want to be able to do what we are able to within our municipal boundaries. It has to become more rigid, given to us. The Nunavut Land Use Plan. I think it should be approved as presented, and we need to know just little more information is required. And when I spoke to the NPC staff, they clearly told us that within municipal boundaries that we have all the authority. We have questions to the plan as it is, but still I think it should be approved with few modifications. Lion Inlet, it's not too far from shipping traffic, as the HTOs in our community have a concern with that. Hamlets are not in business to make money. It's they are there to assist their communities, to be concerned with their communities. Nauyat is all rock, there's hardly any gravel or sand pits nearby. So it's very hard at times to get these sand and gravel. HTO will make a presentation.
Thank you for the presentation. Who's next? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Paul. I represent Nauya HTO. I represent Nauya HTO, Chair. Thank you. First of all,
thank you, first of all, for your invitation to the proceedings.
This event. And the translators and everybody else, thank you. Okay, like Kevin said, he mentioned about Lion Inlet. It's a place where all the marine mammals go to every year. I'm just going to add on a piece of what Kevin was saying. We don't want any shipping around that area. A few years ago, there was search and rescue happened, and Coast Guard ship went right in there. So that part I understand, but that's a very important place for a Marine. They get together every year in that area. Between Lion Inlet and White Island, that part too is the main route for marine mammals every year. We'd like to stop shipping around that area. So that's what we're going to push for. We always have been. Besides that, Nauya is a central point for hunters that come to go hunting for whales or caribou. We get a lot of people coming from the north side of us and from the south side going whale hunting. We need more communication from either communities. One part I wanted to bring up was our polar bear takes. There's always self-defense kill on polar bears, and we understand that. But it isn't fair for Nauya where a community member from, like say for Rankin or Upway or How Beach, when they do a self-defense kill, Nauya is always the one that bears the brunt. Our takes get taken away. That's unacceptable. We've been pushing this for years and years, and I hope this will make a difference. And another subject, a few years ago, there was Greenpeace came up to Nauya along with, I think, Hall Beach or Pond Inlet. They were throwing devices to the sea. And that year when they came in, we didn't know who they were. that year, all the whales, seals, bearded seals, all kinds of marine mammals sort of disappeared. And it wasn't until local hunters from Nauja found these devices in the sea, and they were scaring away the whales and the seals, and we didn't know what was happening until we found out what these were. We put A and B together, and that's when we started finding out. There was more than one device found, and it was pulled out, destroyed. After that year, the whales were coming around, but they weren't as much as before. Besides that, there's that mining company north. I think it's Mary River. That's also affecting marine life, including Nauja. But studies were conducted over a number of years, I think by DFO, and we found out the population of narwhals increased. So it's just that they're not coming around as much towards Nauja. That we know for sure, according to the studies from DFO. Another subject I wanted to bring up was HDO Nauja came up with their own policy where we don't want any camera devices around without HDO notification. So, and we're going to keep stressing that. So, that was one of the rules that was set in place, and we found out there was a camera in place. We're still dealing with that. So, and we haven't heard from the people that were involved in that. Okay, besides all this, I agree with Baker Lake and Upbit, or all the HDOs. Our manager, along with, I think, everybody else, they're concerned about overworked. It would be nice if we can get another, like an assistant, but with the current budget we receive every year, our manager is dealing with all this. Besides, with the shipping increasing and mining activities happening, besides her regular role, that's another load on our manager. And with everybody else, and cumulative HDOs on this. And another point I wanted to bring up was this. Nauja seems to be always the last community to be informed of what's happening. Like, for instance, mining exploration, we hear stuff that other communities already know about. And we want transparency. That has to be addressed. So, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I just wanted to thank, besides this Clayton Doctor, for always supporting Nauja here, and thanks to him and all the hard work from Nauja HDO. The tanks were able to be increased this year, and we're going to keep pushing for that. I have to go through my notes again, so that'll be all for now. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your presentation. Does any one of the other delegates like to speak? Okay. Please go ahead, state your name, organization. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. John L. International HTO Committee. Thank you for inviting us to participate in this proceeding. Thank you for inviting us. We are very happy. And Rankin Inlet for welcoming us. It's always good to be here. And people from the region. We are concerned about wildlife. First of all, our wildlife. And there's a saying, Inuit Kawimayatokait, we will use that term. And first of all, I will pray for the animals because they are living beings. I'm sorry for having problems solving your catastrophes. And you feed us. Thank you. Amen. The mammals are important, and we will discuss it and look at the situation. First of all, caribou. Caribou migration route spring, northward migration towards Baffin Island through our area. And apparently we have different herds coming in from Pele Bay area. The caribou herds when they migrate during spring. And we are interested on the migration routes from where to where. Last year, we harvested 15 caribou with collar, and that tells us a little bit where they are going. So how many more collaring system we have? The collaring program to determine their range from where to where is for that purpose, so the migration route can be learned. This is for their benefits. Although they have the data now, we have not been able to get any information. No one asks us, no one comes to us to see where the collaring system can take place and where they travel from where to where. And I know in our area there are calving herd called Minoxitak where they congregate and little beyond. And caribou are not stationary after calving. They travel, migrate a little further north. And they take the young calves so to feed on better grounds. And we have different herds during fall migration. Coming in from Baffin region, they migrate south. Prairie caribou came in, and they were our herd for a while. And we usually saw them during the winter season. Right now, it's hardly the case anymore. You see this herd once in a while, and I think they have depleted considerably. And herds coming in from Kugaruk area, they were to do a caribou survey to determine the population coming in from that region. So there was a program determining the herd number. And for change, the surveyor on these caribou herds came and gave us information to a question that we always wondered, which is the Kugaruk herd. Our questions were questioned, and we always have concern about caribou herds, especially here in Baffin Island, difficulties with caribou herds. And there are too many now coming in from other regions harvesting in our area. The caribou herd I've mentioned earlier, to the people of region have spoken about this caribou is that, according to Baker Lake presentation, Akbia delegation also mentioned the situation of herd in their vicinity. Yes, it's information we always wanted to hear. 20, 15 years from now, or 15 years past, we haven't seen any caribou herd coming in from southern Kibalik mainland where they used to travel to our region. So we have different herds. Even the meat is not the same there for different herds right now near Repulse Bay. We have no control of migration. All we hear now is they belong to another region, and different regions are becoming particular of their caribou herds. I thought the herds, the harvested animals belong to all of Nunavut and Inuit. So, and I just giving you a rundown on harvesting population in Repulse Bay. Caribou migration, the range is very huge. The tourists, people coming in from Baker Lake area came to talk to us about caribou herd in their area. Now we're hearing where the caribou was very numerous, so close to the community. Now we are being told through other means, through computers, and we see now that the caribou herd are in distressful situation. They're finding it hard for their feeding grounds, especially from Baker Lake area coming up to our region. and the other herd called Akulik coming in from Kugaruk, Johaven area. And these are different herds and migrating towards from Johaven, going eastward through the mainland, spending their winter range. They migrate to Akulik, through Caribou crossing, ice crossing up to Igloolik, and then on to mainland Baffin Island. And the caribou coming in from southern regions, Johaven, Kugaruk area herds are a little more numerous. We were told that there will be a collaring program of migration routes and to see what the population is going to be like. So that did not happen, and the solution was the small amount of caribou herd was collared. So that's my topic on caribou. And the second, our marine area. And I will talk to the people of this region just to give you an idea what we're facing. Narwhals. I'll briefly talk about narwhals. I think there was a survey once to determine the population. But there's always a but. And the exploration camp are very active in some of your areas. You mentioned that they are so close to calving grounds. That's happening, and it's inevitable that this will happen too in our region. The vessel traffic is becoming numerous, and they are even sinking now through a Mitok area, Igloolik area, to start hauling ore. And the shipping routes are so close to our region, and it affects us. Narwhal population is affected, and the American ship came in over 10 years ago, I think, and came into our area and to do some research, and the mammals have really gone down. They moved elsewhere. So we're traveling further and further now to harvest our mammals. And the hunters in our area, when they see these devices, they're just hauled up and trashed away. Since we did that, now we are starting to see our traditional mammals starting to come back to our bay. So all summer they come in to do their calving. And the narwhal are affecting the whole harvesters of the Kiwalik region. They come up to our region. We will not stop them or impose restriction because they're our fellow Inuit, Hobby, Igloolik. They come in throughout the Fox Basin region, and they're always coming in to harvest. For now, we use 73 tags. We go over it a bit at times. and sometimes it's a long wait for tags to come in, even though there are a lot of narwhals at the time. This American ship years back really had disturbed the population, so we had many meetings to look at what the situation is, and it was determined that okay, we'll see what happens in 3 years. Other mammals coming in, like bowhead whale, coming into our regions, and a lot of restrictions were imposed on us, but we had 3 years of harvesting, and we used those 3 years as well. We only have 73 tags within 10 years. The harvesters in our communities are steadily increasing population, and we suggest that according to more people going out, more tags should be allotted. 125 are now our allowable annually, and when we could harvest, we are able to harvest 10 tags during spring at the flowage. And we hunt them when they start arriving to our area at the flowage. The 10 tags are put away for harvesting at the flowage. When we require more tags at spring hunt, we do that. We are pretty much as HTO to determine and allocate more tags to spring hunt for narwhal at the flowage. I think the maktak of these species are more desirable, and they are distributed to the community population. But during the summer season, 115 tags are good for the summer until fall comes. And we have usually left few left over by the end of the summer. And the third is polar bear. When we discuss polar bear coming in from the south, migrating up north from Manitoba during fall, traveling to high Arctic at times, and when they start arriving to Repulse Bay, we have 10 tags allocated for harvesting. And that's our quota for the year. And we reserve 3 for sports hunters, and that was the case. And the world started to become concerned about polar bears, and the world think we are depleting all the mammals and saying we are selling too much to the sports hunters, and that was the problem. And since then, we've been dictated to, we have been spoken to, we have given directions on how to resolve your problems. This is how you should do this. This went on for about 10 years with polar bear population. And our chair mentioned briefly that Gibbalik population coming into our region. And what can you do? You have to be welcoming. I know they come up to harvest, And the problem is they're from other communities and they, for defense kill, our tags are taken from Repos Bay tags. It's been an ongoing problem now. We had this for 10, 15 years now when people coming in to hunt to our region when they had to do a defense kill. It's taken our quota and they are using all the tags now, almost all of it, for defense kills. And we are not given credits for more polar bear tags, although the harvesting, the defense kill is coming in from hunters from the other communities. So with those tags gone due to other communities, we don't have any more tags. And the number is still there. It has been increased marginally by four for fall, and it opens on various times of year. And we have 14 polar bear tags, and this year 14 are here this year, so nothing really has changed, so we're happy. Our elders are happy. We took opportunity to elders who have not hunted for a long time, so we as a community took them out hunting for polar bear harvesting, and they are very happy that for a chance to hunt again as elders. These are elders who have not hunted for a long time, so just having that experience was tremendous. The green peas that I mentioned earlier, we inquired what their activities are in our region. And there was a member in our islands claiming to be a wildlife photographer. And people have noticed eventually what his real intents were. Putting in devices to seafloor so that the mammals could move out of the territory where a lot of harvesting was carrying on. And the fish, we have a lot of fish in our community. And during spring spawning, they are becoming so few. There are researches every year now as a result of depleting marine life. And it's for the last 20 years now we have a lot of researches related to marine mammals. I just want to add Bowhead Well. 1999, after Nunavut conception, and we have our own territory since 1999. What is this? What is my land? I have not seen no results. The 25 communities have celebrated, and the first one was in Repos Bay. It was a joyous occasion as an Inuk and being able to harvest for the first time. So Bowhead Well count have drastically increased in numbers. They are healthy. So, Baffin Island, Kiwalik, Kajangmute were allowed to harvest one each year. So we have a lot of bowhead whale in our area. There was a bowhead whale hunt, and it was a happy occasion. Small community in the in Kiwalik chosen this site for the first bowhead whale hunt. It was good. Our grandfathers, great-grandfathers, we thought about them because this was their traditional source of food, and that hunt happened in Repulse Bay, Nauyat. And when bowhead whales were starting to be harvested, we have inquiries to which community will hunt bowhead whale. And every year, as Nauya community, I don't think we should take all the tags. We will allocate it to other communities in this region as well, because one allowed in the region. We cooperate in relations to bowhead whale, especially to southern Keewatin. They come up to our region to hunt, and that has been the case for many years in this region. They come into our community when they harvest a bowhead whale. It's good feeling, but there is always a but. But when it's dressed, Nauyak population are so welcoming to the regions. They do all the work because of our generosity. And when they are leaving, it's hunter's knowledge. They are organized. Who is the harpooner? Who will do what to harvest one whale or bowhead whale? I'm trying to make a point here. People of Nauyak, we are open, and in relations to bowhead whale, it's a lot of work cutting up the maktak, and people of Nauyak are working so hard when hunters come up from other communities. We do all their work, and the people of Nauyak are all volunteering, assisting the successful hunters. There have to be something done about this if this to continue. We welcome hunters. That's our nature, but this has been happening too long. I think we are being taken advantage of, and and when they come up to harvest, so in many ways it tells us that there is no communication where other hunters are not able to see this, that all their work once harvested is done by our community. we should be able to make a point now if since going back to 1999 a bit when we were told we have our own territory now, everything is open. It's like that even to 2022. We are still controlled as before by southern Canada. I look right to me, it's all interveners. And where are the Inuit who are supposed to be in your seats? And nothing has changed. You will determine what our wildlife will be like, not by us. The Nunavut Land Claims Agreement told us that we will start to be masters in our territory, and nothing is happening. We are still trying to determine land use process. And when I heard that we will be running our own territory, federal government would lax. They will create office in our territory. NTI, KIA will be able to do so many things for the region. Was I ever happy to have heard that? But from 1999 to today, NTIA, KIA, and when they open their positions for high-level elections, so we people in Nunavut, as Kivalakmute as well, they come. And it's their normal procedure, campaigning. And it's always the same situation because we need this Nunavut land use plan. I'm talking about it. And when people are campaigning for higher positions, they tell you what they will do exactly. My people, I will work for you. But since 1999, and Inuit Kauimaya even mentioned so often, I will base my campaign on that now up to 2022. And the young people will be foremost in our community. They are going to be masters. And when I start getting into the boards, I thought as youngster, I thought I could move everything in my community. I thought I could run it in my own way. So as things progress, and as it was mentioned earlier, we are always the last community to hear what is going on. There is no transparency from anywhere. Federal government, we don't see them in my community. They say Northern Affairs, Northern Concerns. Is that just for a country? During the time of NWT, government was open, they travel. They were concerned with communities. And since Nunavut became a reality, now that has stopped completely. I don't see anyone coming into smaller community. Your concentration is to basically 3 regional hubs to larger communities. And this has been going on too long. Where too small population is not there. Is that your reason why you do not come? Although if you do, you would be welcome in our community. I think during the COVID for the past 2 years, during Kivalliq Wildlife Board video conferencing meeting, I asked at that time if you were able to come into the Kivalliq smaller communities. That was my question. And they said, okay, we will travel, we will give you information, we will work with you. It never materialized. Almost on mammals, walruses. I think there was a research last summer. And this past summer there was another survey on walrus. And we were told that population is healthy and growing. I'm trying to make a point here. The map we saw on the screen, the area we call Nakchuktok on red. The red designation called Nakchuktok. And towards Baffin, there's White Island there. The red area used to be inhabited by Greenlandic people and who traveled to Nauyak area. Nagluktok. Between Baffin Island and mainland Kivalliq is a point where they were traveling to. Now the marine traffic is becoming numerous, and this area we call Sublu is even being used now. It's a narrow part in our area. And the ships are coming in through these small channels now. And the marine traffic coming in through narrow channels should be prohibited close to marine traffic. And as it was mentioned, travel through Southampton and bypassing Coach Island, which is not the case according to presentation earlier. Marine coming in will be disturbed. Marine mammals will be disturbed. Inuit needs could never be understood. Will NTI be able to do anything about it? Maybe not, because they don't come into our community. While we are working on land use process for the younger population of Nunavut, we are learning. Some of us are presenting what our concerns are. but it's still the case today. Outside population is still controlling our needs. And the NTI Nunavut agreement should be able to help us. And when people talk about this Nunavut Land Claims Agreement now, I think it only applies to larger communities, although it's an agreement, no use to smaller communities. And this is how we are far behind. Our government, what is the government? We hear there's Nunavut government. Where are they? We are neglected. We are not informed. There's NTI. Where are they? There's Kivalliq Inuit Association. And they only appear when they need something from the community. And this is how we are far behind from our governments and even the land use planning process. We were not even aware that this is happening. I'm happy that I am given opportunity and inform what you are doing. So I will end my topic right now. So you told us that we can ask, and as younger generations have not fully becoming aware of what we're able to do, we will become as youngsters in the Nunavut to do what we done. Although I appreciate our elder generation that have directed us to live. Now, I think because of that, my understanding from them that I will be making further strides than what we have today. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Does anyone else from the table want to speak? Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I forgot to mention about polar bears, as John was. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Pa Agutitwa. I represent HTO Chair in Nauyat. I just wanted to bring up polar bears again. Today they're increasing in numbers. It's not true what we hear on TV or social media that they're decreasing. There was an incident a few years ago. A person a subsistence hunter got mauled. I hate to say. We want more take for Nauyat because they're everywhere. A few polar bears came into Nauyat in the last few weeks. One went right into town, and that one had to be destroyed. So we're going to keep pushing for more takes. Besides that, I just want to point out with the mining company, Agnico Eagle, something's got to be done with Agnico Eagle. I'm not against mining. We're for mining, but there's got to be rules in place that have to be followed. They are in place, but they're never followed. Here in Rankin, we heard that treated water from the mine was discharged to the sea. That can't happen again. I hope not anyway. I have a little bit of background in mining. I did introduction to mining over 10 years ago. And one of the chemicals that they use to distract the gold from the process of taking the gold out, they use cyanide. That's a really deadly chemical. So it might have been treated. They say it's separated from what they're going to discharge to the sea. It's not always the case. I don't think so. The other thing too is Bigger League team brought this up. In the beginning, we heard that the employee ratio from Inuit to the people that come from the south was supposed to be either 60-40 or somewhere close to that range. That's never the case. This has to be addressed. The other thing too with that, I hate to say there's discrimination still going on. A lot of people experienced it. I have, and people still do today. So I think KIA has to step up on this part to look after their constituents or their people within Nunavut. We hear about them wanting to hire Inuit local people from Nunavut or within Kibandak. That's good, but the numbers aren't the same as what they print out. The ratio is still out of balance. The other thing I wanted to bring up again with Agnico was that when COVID hit, all of the Nunavut beneficiaries were sent home. That's understandable with the rules that they had in place, but the people from the south were still mining, coming from the south. I don't think that was fair. As a beneficiary, I think we have a right to know what's going on. So it would be nice to see either NTI or KI, or NTI and KI step up on this to fight for Inuit rights. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your presentations. I'll just pause to see. It looks like we're done on the presentation side, so we'll move to the questions. And I'll remind that questions are to be specific to the land use plan. So we'll start with, and to the presenter. Jonathan, please start.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Jonathan Savoy with the Nunavut Planning Commission. Thank you to the representatives from Nauyat for your presentation. I just want to follow up on some information the Commission collected when we visited your community in January of 2020. During that community visit, community participants identified 2 caribou sea ice crossings where there were concerns about shipping disrupting those sea ice crossings. And just for reference, one is to the south of the community in Frozen Strait, and one to the north of the community going in towards Committee Bay. Those areas have been included in the draft land use plan as conditional use areas, but during that community visit, the Commission did not receive information on the specific dates or seasons during which those sea ice crossings were being used. I was wondering if participants or community representatives would be able to specify what dates these sea ice crossings are used by caribou. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Okay, go ahead.
Kevin Tigumer, Hamlet.
Crossings on sea ice are during the spring, both April and May. That's the only time that caribou crosses on the sea ice. We don't see that in the fall. We rarely see that in the fall. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Good. Okay. Any questions from the community? Okay. Martha will be having a question. Okay. Go ahead, Martha.
Martha Hicks from Hamlet of Rankin Inlet. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question to John L. About the sports hunting, why it was stopped in your community.
Thank you for the question. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair.
John L.
John L. HTO. Since we've heard that they were endangered species, they were allocated only to the local harvesters. It was halted to sports hunters at that time, since we've heard the status of the herd. So there have been no sports hunters since then. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions or hands. It's registered participants. I don't see any movement. Any member of the public? I also don't see any movement. Thank you very much for your presentation. So we're at a good stopping point for the day, and so there's a few snacks that came in late. You might want to grab them on the way out. Thank you for the presentations today. We will start at 9:15, 9:15 tomorrow morning. There will not be a night session tonight. And I believe it is Rankin Inlet that will be up first thing in the morning. Thank you very much. Oh, there's one little piece of information. I believe the parking lot is a little bit congested. So if there could be a pathway left in the parking lot so people could come and go when you're putting your cars in there and trucks. Thank you very much.